The International Monetary Fund under fire from economists in the United States Capitol. Even audience members chimed in.
You're actually erasing the expansionary effect that fiscal policy has with tight monetary policy.
Many of the economic analysts here say IMF policies cripple developing nations by implementing tough fiscal policies during a global recession.
The vast majority of the agreements that the IMF has signed, and even in the poorer countries too, have conditions which actually reduce economic growth even in a time of recession.
The United States continues to pour money into the IMF. This week, Congress passed a $106 billion funding bill for the wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, and the International Monetary Fund. However, critics of the IMF's policies don't think that developing countries will get the money they need to stay economically viable.
We are supporting widening deficits this year to allow expenditures to be preserved.
Advocates have argued that the fund generally lends in crisis situations where there are already serious problems and unavoidable adjustments, and that fund support just makes those adjustments easier.
A lot is changing in the way that we are designing programs now. We are obviously very conscious of the need, wherever possible, for countries to be able to take stimulus measures to help get the economies out of the recession.
But critics say countries such as Latvia and others in Africa are being shut off from needed funds, while Western European banks wait for a bailout.
Look at Latvia, for example, where they've been fighting with the IMF over how big their budget deficit can be. They're going to shrink 20% this year. Should they have to shrink 25%?
IMF advocates say that the billions pledged by the U.S. and a similar tranche of funding from England will give them the firepower to help developing countries to increase their shrinking GDP. But critics are waiting to see how much of that money will be given to ailing banks in the global economic crisis. For Press TV, Colin Campbell, Washington.